Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is going to be a little bit different from the usual vlogs. I wanted to share a couple of things that I've learned throughout living alone in my 30s. It's been 3 years of me living alone in my current apartment, and I've learned so much during this time. One of the biggest lessons that I have learned over the course of this experience has been money management. If you're someone who is looking to embark on this journey of living on your own, money management, budgeting, those are going to be super important. One of the things that I tried to do in preparation for this big move was to really save enough money and understand what kind of expenses I would have going into it. So obviously there's the expense of moving itself. If you need to hire a moving company or if you need to get help from people, just knowing what that rough estimate of the cost will be, I think is a really great first step to know how much you need to start saving for. And obviously you want to know what the cost of living is. I live in Toronto and the cost of living here is relatively high, so I did my research and I went on different rental sites. I also had the help of a real estate agent who showed me a bunch of listings during this time to give me a sense of like what the costs would be and what I would be getting for a certain amount. The first year or so was really hard because I'm in a new area. I don't really know anyone. I'm still getting settled in. It was just a lot at once. So preparing yourself for the potential overwhelm that you'll feel and the initial like loneliness that can come with it. Your emotions are going to be going up and down. Like it's kind of an emotional roller coaster because moving is a big deal. I think I read somewhere that like it's one of life's most difficult changes that you can make is to move. The emotional aspect of it was definitely something that I had to adjust to. I am definitely an introvert. I love my space. I absolutely love just like my own company, but there are those moments when you wish that you had someone in your company. That was something that I guess nobody can really truly prepare you for because it can just come at random times. But I have found over the course of the years that one of the things that really helps me is just to have healthy distractions kind of like sprinkled throughout my space, or just knowing what I can do to soothe that loneliness. And sometimes honestly just sitting in it and feeling it and experiencing it is what is needed. It's really hard, but honestly, like it's something that people don't really talk about. But I think it's extremely normal to feel lonely when you move to a new place, when you're in a new area and you don't know anyone. So for me, like I have my plants that really help me. They've grown so much. Like when I first moved in, I got a couple of plants, and some of them made it, some of them didn't. But just having those and taking care of them, it just really helped me. I was also really lucky that I did a lot of dog sitting in like the first couple of years that I lived in my apartment. My sister had a dog, so I was able to have her in my company a lot of the time. And oh my goodness, having a pet around is just a game changer. I don't have any pets currently. I would love to get a dog or maybe a cat in the near future, but that's something that I'm still not quite ready for, but I do plan on eventually getting a pet. But I would say obviously pets can be like a really great comfort to just have that company and that kind of like companionship. So when I was doing dog sitting, it was such a great experience. And then also just exploring the area, like getting out of my apartment, even though like I put so much into actually like moving and setting myself up and being able to do it. But then actually like leaving the apartment and going out and exploring the area, that also really shifted my mind from just being like isolated inside all the time to actually like being out in the world and being out in like my area in the city and enjoying everything that was around me. If I could go back and kind of like prepare myself a little bit more, I would definitely like research what's in the area, what are some cool things that would be fun to do, cool places that I would want to go, kind of like map out what my go-to spots would be, which now that it's been 3 years, I definitely have like my favorite spots that I go to, or just trails that I really like to go for walks on, places that I like to ride my bike, go for runs. It happens gradually over time, but I would say in preparation for a big move, it's really nice to just kind of familiarize with the area. I'm now 3 years in, and it's still a little bit hard for me to really feel settled and like I'm at home, especially since I'm renting my current place. And that's one of the things that I'm like still working on. I'm not quite at a place where I really want to like put money into it yet, because number one, I'm renting, and I do hope to like have a more permanent home somewhere someday. So I guess that's kind of what I'm saving for. But I think it does help to just like put your own personal touch on your space, which is, like I said, something that I'm still learning to do, also because I tend to be a little bit more of a minimalist in terms of the things that I like to have around me. I've been really slow to kind of like decorate and customize the space. There's still a lot of things that I'm learning about when it comes to like being more social and like meeting people. I think that's like the next level that I'm getting to. I'm kind of slow as far as like my evolution in solo living. I've been such an introvert and a homebody that like now 3 years in, I'm just now starting to like really build more of a community, knowing your neighbors, finding people in your area that you can get along with, making new friendships and not being afraid to say hi to people. I live in a building, and of course when there's elevators, there's people coming in and out, and the initial instinct for me at least is to like look at my phone or look down and not really start conversations. But I think it's okay to like just say friendly hello sometimes if you're in the mood. So that's kind of the stage that I'm in now in terms of my evolution of living alone, is really putting the focus into building that community, not being afraid to say hi to people, meet new people in the area, and just like build my circle a little bit more, and doing it in an intentional way. There's so many things that happen during this time, and it can be so exciting and a little bit overwhelming, but it's a process. It is definitely a process, and it's not going to all of a sudden just be perfect overnight, and it's different for everyone. I've been able to have so much free time and time alone, and just time to think and time to process a lot of the stuff that has happened in my past, a lot of my previous living situations where I lived with roommates or I lived with family. All of those experiences have also taught me a lot about how I want to live and how I want to kind of manage my own space. So I'm super grateful for all of the living experiences that I've had in the past. This is the longest amount of time that I've lived on my own, and I'm really enjoying it a lot so far. Like, to be quite honest, I feel very privileged a lot of the time, and sometimes I have to pinch myself and be like, I can't believe this is my life. I can remember being younger, like being in my early 20s, and just like wishing to be able to live on my own. Like, I had experiences in my 20s where I was in school, like many people who had roommates in their 20s. I lived with roommates and I didn't even know them. I lived with like 5 or 6 people in university. So I had those kinds of experiences, and I look back on them now and I just think like, wow, I don't even think my younger self could imagine that I would get here. I feel really proud of myself and just really grateful and really privileged that I'm able to experience this. And I know it's not always going to be like this. Life changes, and I expect that my living situation will change again eventually. And I think that's another thing that living alone has taught me, and just all of my previous living experiences, is always prepare for a change, because inevitably your living situation will change at some point or another. Especially when you're renting, you're kind of at the mercy of a lot of factors that are out of your control. So that's one of the things that I always keep in the back of my mind, like, be prepared, have an emergency fund, have ways that you can still be okay no matter what happens. So I'm so grateful for those past experiences, because they've just taught me how to really like be there for myself and to be prepared for what might happen. So having said all of that, I hope that you can take something away from this video if you're someone who's thinking about embarking on the journey of living on your own. It's a really amazing experience. So if you are someone who's able to do it, I encourage it. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.